Hi everybody, I'm immigration attorney John Khosravi. I hope you're having a great Friday. It's Friday, May 29th, I believe. Let me double check. You gotta double check on the day. Make sure these are consistent. Yeah, 5 p.m. Pacific time, Friday, May 29th. Tomorrow's the weekend. I think we're at the end of May. Hopefully things, quarantine, all this stuff's gonna end soon. But as always, we're having our live Q&A, immigration Q&A, Monday through Friday, live on TikTok, Immigration Lawyer John. And today, we're switching it up. Usually it's on Facebook, but on Fridays, I'm gonna make it where it's special on Instagram so people could join in and ask general immigration questions that they may have. As a reminder, this is just general information, not case-specific guidance. You may need to consult with an immigration lawyer in private to get information about your case. But we're gonna talk about some general stuff here for the next half hour. Hopefully this information could help you out. If you haven't already, please subscribe on Instagram or on YouTube. It's JQK Law Firm, and follow. You'll get a lot of different kind of information that could help you. I'm doing good, honey Dylan. Good to see you again. And if you're on TikTok, it's Immigration Lawyer John. Most of our questions do come from there. That's a great crew over there. You get a lot of different kinds of information there. But please, if you're on TikTok, click on the profile link, subscribe and follow, and then click on the link below that has access to all my different social media pages so you can get more information. And if you needed to schedule a consultation, just email my office. Hi, Chocolate Anonymous. Good to see you. Good talking with you today. So we got a lively crew over here, and TikTok as well. Sangras, how am I doing? I'm doing pretty good. A little bit sleepy, but the weekend's here. Unfortunately, I work 7 days a week. Fortunately or unfortunately, I enjoy it, but I'm exhausted and still going to have to work this weekend. Pretty tough. But you know, the immigration game never sleeps. So we're here. With that, I'm still getting used to seeing Instagram on the side. But it's good to have you all there. If you have some general questions, let me know. We have our first question. If you apply for a green card in Louisville, Kentucky, and you move to California, what's the process? Well, if you do move to another state while you have a green card application pending, you have to notify CIS with Form AR-11. It's an online form you can submit. It's pretty straightforward, and they'll get notification to send your case to the new location. There are two problems that come up. One is many times, or maybe three. So when you move it, many times it gets lost in the process, so that's not good. Secondly, it'll put you in the back of the line in a new location, like in Los Angeles you're going to. And third, even though you update your address online with Form AR-11, which is what you're supposed to do, the system that immigration, USCIS has to schedule interviews is a different address system than where you update your address with the AR-11. So because of that, it's a big problem because you might get an appointment notice for the old Louisville address, but you might not get it because they didn't update it properly. It's a mess up in the system and a big issue. So in those kind of cases, you want to call USCIS also to let them know the address change and get confirmation that you did that. So if they schedule an interview and you miss it, then you can say, well, it wasn't my fault, you guys messed up, because that happens frequently. So we typically don't want people to move during immigration cases pending, but that's what happens. Now, Burnham asked if he could accept his request to go live. I'm not doing live interactions. If you have a question and I could generally answer it, let me know. We can do that here. We got a couple of questions on TikTok I want to get to now. Let's see. So today we jumped into it. Honey Dylan asked, so I'm doing good, thank you, Sangra. Honey Dylan asked, I approve the I-130, but I-485 pending, so if I'm eligible to apply for travel document. Well, if you have an adjustment of status from I-485 pending, you probably should have, I mean, may not know, but you could have filed for a travel document, advanced parole, and work permit with it. Now, depending on how you enter the United States or your immigration history, they may not approve the advanced parole or travel document. So we have to see what's going on there, but you could always give it a shot and apply. At this point, applying, if you have your I-130 approved and I-485 is pending, I'm not sure which way you've submitted these applications, but you'll probably get a decision before the advanced parole is issued. But if you like, give it a shot, but I would need to know more information about your background and give more specific case advice on that. Sangras, I heard USCIS open next week. Yes, on June 4th, USCIS has said that they're going to start opening the process. Now that means different things. So they're slowly opening up some parts of the system, oath ceremonies. Some field offices may open, some may not. They're going to be seeing less people. They're not going to be having full services. So it's generally they're beginning the process of opening up. It doesn't mean that they're fully open for in-person interactions. They've been open for submitting paperwork and processing, but with regards to in-person application processing, still waiting to be seen on what's going to happen with that. Fame asks, no question about watching properly or live. Watching properly or live. Okay, well, thank you so much. I appreciate joining and being on. It's always good to have people interested in this kind of stuff. It's my life day in, day out, and I get a kick out of it, so I'm glad you enjoy it as well. All right, let's see. Okay, so we're getting more and more people joining, asking questions, and we kind of had a quick jump into it, but thank you so much for those on Instagram as well. And it asks, when USCI is opening for biometrics, I have not received biometrics notice yet. You'll get it when you get it. That's part of the opening that's happening. Each office is going to be different. It depends on the quarantine rules for that state and that locality. These are big factors in it. And so they'll schedule it. When they schedule it, it's not up to me, it's not up to you. It's an internal decision they make. You just have to be patient in these kind of stuff, and hopefully that goes through. Thank you for everyone who's joining on Instagram as well. We have a lively group coming in and out, and as well as on TikTok. So yeah, I know people are getting really impatient and frustrated. That's the number one question immigration lawyers are getting nowadays. How long this, how long that? No one knows. So it's like you're asking a question that doesn't have an answer. You just have to be patient and wait for things to happen. The whole coronavirus situation is a big one. How are we gonna, who knows what's gonna happen with that? So yeah, it's the kind of question you're asking, things we don't have answers for. But we're submitting cases in the meantime. I just got a receipt for a fiance visa I submitted to USCIS. That's happening. Good news, and this doesn't apply for everybody, but premium processing has opened up, or is opening up. So premium processing is for business kind of cases, employment and business investment kind of cases, where you submit an extra amount of money, $1,440, and they make the decision faster than they normally do, or at least they process it much faster. They're going to open that up in a staggered way over the next month or two. So depending on what kind of case you have, an H-1B and L-1, it was filed already or is concurrently filed. It's a kind of technical terminology, but they'll open up the processing for premium processing, which is a good thing. We got a question how long a green card case takes. That's a very general question. I need more specifics to be able to answer something like that. We can have a consultation to go over it. Sunglass, I filed the I-140 with a green card. Now I filed for citizenship. If I got to be citizen, your question doesn't make sense because you have I-140 into I-130, citizenship. I don't know what's going on with that, but schedule a consultation and we could go over what's going on. Now, as we asked, we're going to be open immigration. Yeah, I just talked about that right now. It's going to happen. Immigration Romita, thank you so much for joining on Instagram. A good colleague of ours who's doing some great work and really going out there in the social media sphere. I'm loving it, seeing all the new content coming up. It's really good having this information out because people have a lot of questions, and not everyone's going to find me, but it's good to have different ways of getting good information, reliable information. So I'm glad you're there, and thank you for dropping by. Hope all is well in New York. Let's see. We have Ankush asks, does bad credit and tax cause refusal for naturalization? Bad credit has not historically been an issue, but it could be opening up under the Trump administration. But taxes, yes, you could easily be denied if you have not filed your taxes and you do not have a tax plan with the IRS. So what you definitely need to do before even filing for U.S. citizenship is pay your back taxes, file everything you need to, and if you owe back taxes, set up a payment plan, have the documentation of that, maybe pay a couple of months worth of that payment plan, and then once you have a solid relationship, show that you're paying, because it's considered bad moral character for not paying taxes or not having a plan with the IRS. And so once you do that, file for them. They can still deny it because you have back taxes, but mostly if you have a good tax plan, it's not ridiculous what happens. The penalties aren't crazy. Most officers will accept it. So I definitely would consult an immigration attorney and an accountant as well if you have back taxes and you're looking to file for U.S. citizenship. Ratatouille asks, are the closing days calculated within the 150-day waiting period for application for work permit? Are the closing days? Don't worry about the 100. I mean, I talk about asylum. Asylum is just 150 days, so it's you count it from the day you filed it. But in other sense, waiting for a period or work permit. Yeah, I think you're talking about asylum-based, a work permit based on asylum. That's 150 days. Yeah, just count from the day you filed it. It's calendar days. They're thinking about changing this kind of stuff from calendar days to work business days. I don't do asylum cases, so it's not a typical thing that I file. So I don't remember the nuances, but from what I recall, it's 150 days after filing for asylum that you can apply for the EAD, the work permit for asylum. So I would go with that. I think that's the situation. But double check the instructions for Form I-765. That's the place I would go by and see what it says there. Sangha says I-130. So yeah, ask your full sentence in a more concise way. We'll see what we can do. If not, we'll schedule a consultation. Nazmad in Virginia. Great. Good luck. Akush said I did file taxes, but it was even out. I'm not sure what that means if it was even out. So just definitely just more specific question would be better. But this is getting too much of the case specific. Something you should consult an immigration attorney or contact my office to schedule a consultation. Mr. Depeche, thank you. Thank you for sending out the wave as well. Okay, let's scroll down a little bit here. Yes, asylum. Annex says, is Trump changing immigration laws? Where you been? Of course, it's been years now this is happening. Fami asks, for public charge form, will embassy ask my qualifications? It depends on what's going on with your case, but public charge is going to come up at the embassies when they reopen. They are going to get into your backgrounds of the foreign applicant, so that's going to be an issue and something that you have to be prepared to talk about at the embassy if it comes up and when it comes up. It's not clear. I mean, it's all new. They shut down the embassy soon after the public charge rule came into place. So because of that, we don't really know how strict they're going to be, on Form DS-5540. That's the public charge form that you use if you're going to do consular processing, as opposed to Form I-944 if you're with USCIS adjusting status. But you be prepared for the worst. I mean, it is what it is, the situation we're dealing with under this administration. Angela says, I'm in Hayward, California, and I applied for a green card. My green card is in process. Well, congrats. Hopefully it works out. Just be patient right now. Things are taking longer than they used to. I was talking about this yesterday, and people ask, how long does the green card case take? Let me see what you follow that, Angel. And the thing is, like, there's some, when you submit your Form I-130 petition for alien relative, some offices might take 6 months to review that, and then some might take more, a year, 12, 16 months. So it's like when people ask how much it takes, well, it depends on which office gets it, how long they take, you get an RFE, all this kind of stuff. The question was, can you apply for a spouse? I don't know your case, so I need to review your case to see whether you can file your spouse. Definitely schedule a consultation in my office. It's info@jqqlaw.com. Note there are consultation fees with my office. Mr. Depeche, please go ahead and ask your question. If I can answer, I will. If not, well, we could take it in some other direction. BMS, I'm just here to tell you that I'm so much respect and love for you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. I'm glad I could be of service and take some time out to answer these questions. I appreciate that, user Fortnite, as well. So if you have some quick questions, let me know. All these questions pop up all of a sudden. I don't want to rush you and try to give a full answer. But it's complicated. Things are so different for every case. Every time you deal with an immigration officer is different. Every day we wake up, we get some new news. I mean, just today, maybe an hour ago, President Trump did some sort of travel ban for Chinese student visa holders or something like that. I didn't even get a chance to read the executive order that came out. But every day is changing, so we got to see what happens. Family asks, I'm prepared for everything, but PFC, I don't know. Yeah, I gotta review your case. I don't know what to tell you, family, but thanks for trying to ask the question here. But that's something, maybe just contact an immigration attorney in private and go through it so you can have a better idea of what's going on in your case. Angela says, no, I want to know, can I apply for my husband with I-94 because I applied for green card but in process? Well, if you don't have a green card, there's no way you can apply for husband, but we have to see, I gotta see more what's going on in your case. It's not an answer I give specifically when there's a lot of moving parts that are that are different. We got to see what's going on in your case, why your spouse entered midway. So, family, definitely schedule consultations. It's a very unique fact pattern you have that we got to talk about in private. Mr. Depeche on Instagram asks, okay, I applied for my wife, but everything is done, but I don't know how long it'd take time. If everything's done, do you mean your application submission is done or the case is done? But if you submitted, you're waiting, I don't know either. I have to see what's going on in your case, look it up. You got to schedule a consultation, and we can go into that. Angus, my card will expire in the month of October. I want to get my citizenship. How can I do that? Well, you apply for citizenship if it's appropriate. So I would say just consult with an immigration attorney, email my office. We have a great immigration attorney just joined right here, CPM Immigration Law, Clarabelle. She's a great colleague of mine. You can contact her, have a consultation with her, or at the very least follow her page and communicate with her, schedule a consultation. But just get some good advice in private. There's a lot of information that we need to know about you and that's really unique to you and to see what's going on. User 955 asks, my conditional green card marriage base expires on September 14th, and I know 90 days prior. Does that? And let's see what that goes. And one thing about the 90-day rule, I mentioned how many days can I stay without pay stub. Okay, so we got some stuff popping up. For regards to if you're going to file a removal of conditions and when the 90 days starts, if you go to USCIS.gov or maybe do a Google search of this, they have a calculator there that tells you, because there's another 90-day pre-filing for citizenship as well, and they have a calculator there that adds when the 90 days starts. And so put your green card expiration info in there. It'll tell you when the 90 days before is, and that'll help you up there in that calculation. Let's see. How many days can Secret asks, on H-1B visa, how many days can I stay without a pay stub? Well, if you're on H-1B, you're not getting paid. That means you're not working. So essentially, your H-1B is ending right there, and you have a 60-day grace period, but you shouldn't be without work. Sometimes they allow some nuances for that, but this is really case-specific. What I would recommend is consult with your employer's immigration attorney that's filed for the H-1B. These are the kind of questions they can answer, or schedule a private consultation with another attorney that can help you out with that. Clarabelle, hey John, thank you for these live videos. They're so helpful. Thank you so much, Clarabelle. I appreciate it. You have some great videos yourself. I can't wait to see you grow on TikTok and more success. I appreciate that. User, so nice Patel follow. Thank you for following, Patel. Okay, Angus says, how long does it take to get American citizenship? There is no specific timeline. Check with uscis.gov for your local office, but keep in mind they just shut everything down for interviews because of COVID-19 for 3 months. So if someone before this asked how long it takes, that estimate I gave would have made no sense, so they shut everything down. So don't worry about how long it takes. Just do what you got to do, and don't worry about how long it takes. I know that's not the answer you want to hear. That's not the answer everyone wants to hear, but that's the reality of the world we live in. We can't estimate timelines very reliably, and it varies depending on which field office you're in. Some offices take a year, some take 3 months. Coronavirus hits, everything shuts down, backlogs happen. So don't ask about time. Just do what you have to do and walk your way forward from there. Harriet asks, today somewhere on Facebook I read premium processing going to resume. Is that? Yes, I already talked about this. They stated this morning that they are in a step-by-step resume premium processing for I-140 and I-129 cases. These are employment investment-based cases, but it's a staggered approach, so we're going to see what happens as it goes forward. But that's an awesome thing to help out. I'm going to be actually June 5th. Actually, I have a L1 intercompany transfer. I told my client, say, let's file premium processing immediately. So he transferred the funds for the filing fee, $1,440. We're going to file to do premium processing on his L1 because he wants a decision sooner rather than later. And so that's a great thing for people to make some, especially for a business. You want to know ahead of time what's going on. Samrod asks, can you lose your permanent residency if you commit a felony? Yes, definitely. If you commit crimes, you're deportable. So it depends on what crime you're committing, what kind of felony is. It's more nuanced. Yes, so don't do criminal activity. But it's very possible for you to lose your green card and be deported depending on what the felony is. So hopefully you didn't have some situation like that. It's not good at all. Nicolo asks, I'm an American and my husband is from India. The entire immigration process is exhausting. Yes, definitely it is. So that's why people hire me, so I can take on all those pressures, because it's crazy and it's just gotten worse. Every year it's more and more. Even on me it's exhausting to deal with this stuff, and I deal with it every day. And you think, like, because I know the process, every case is different, every officer treats it differently. It's always a new thing when we're going into these immigration cases, trying to see what happens. It's a crazy time, but we got to help people get through it. We got to help spouses get together, businesses start and invest in the United States. So I'm really proud of what I do, but it is exhausting. I feel you. It's a lot of pressure, and that's why people hire me to alleviate that. So my goal is for people to just continue living their lives and focus on things they specialize in, and just put all the burden of this stuff on me and let me worry about it. And that's the way we do it. Hopefully your case will be approved and you can move on. Nicholas, thank you for everything. I appreciate that. Thank you as well. Thank you for watching and asking questions. User 955 asks, could unemployment insurance because of COVID-19 be counted as a public charge? Probably not, because unemployment insurance is not a means tested benefit. It's a thing you pay into. So historically they said it's not considered part of public charge. So if you have a green card and you get unemployment, as long as you don't lie, you don't do fraudulent unemployment claims, which is a fraud issue if you do that separately, it's not a problem for getting citizenship if you have a green card. Now if you have a non-immigrant visa, like a work authorization, or let's say H-1B, and you get unemployment, that's an issue, because on H-1B you're supposed to be working. If you're getting unemployment, that means you don't have a job, which means your visa is invalid. So there's different types of issues that pop up, but I wouldn't be worried about public charge for unemployment benefits, because that's something you pay into while you're working, and so it's not a means tested benefit in that sense. Nicole asks, what city do you work out of? I'm in Los Angeles, but I take cases from across the country. My cases are spread out, so my location doesn't really affect my ability to represent people. If you want to discuss a case, email my office, info@jqqlaw.com, and we can have an initial consultation by video. There is a consultation fee, but I recommend is email me, briefly describe the immigration issue that you have so I can know what's going on and if it's the type of case I handle, and I'll let you know if a half an hour, 1 hour, or more consultation is needed and what the costs for that are, and you can make a decision if you want to move forward or not at that time. User 399 asks, can my husband, a conditional relative 1, get approved if my dad is the sponsor? I did not make enough recent college grad. Well, it's possible. In the past, it was open and shut that if you have a joint sponsor, it's getting approved, that's it. Trump came, and so we're a little more cautious on this kind of stuff. If the sponsor is your father, that's better. Sometimes nowadays they'll say, oh, it's not a close relative or a close friend. Even though it's not in the rules, they make this kind of stuff up. But they may still give you a tough time because they're worried that you won't be able to support your husband when he comes here. However, if you're a recent college grad, that's a good reason. It's not like you're just sitting at home doing nothing. You're going to school, getting a degree. Overall, to review the case myself to see what's going on. But if your dad is a sponsor and you studied and you have a degree, I'm optimistic. But you also have to worry about the public charge rule. So we need to analyze what your husband is doing, what his background is, what his English skills are, what education he has, how his credit score is, how his taxes are, how much money he has, how much debt he has. All of these stuff that started new on February 24th when President Trump made the public charge rule much harder than it used to be. All this has to be analyzed where it did not have to be analyzed before. So we have to really get into it and see what's going on through case to give good advice. Sam Rose asks, I had a cousin that committed vehicular manslaughter. Would he be losing his residency? I don't know. He needs to consult with an immigration attorney. This is not the forum, public forum like this to answer that kind of question right there. Pretty terrible situation. It's a sucky situation, but he should consult the immigration attorney in private about something like that. User named as, hey, I came in USA on I-130. How can I apply for a green card online? Well, you cannot file for your green card online if you can't enter the US I-130. So I'm not sure what you're talking about. If you mean a renewal of I-90, maybe you could do that there. But your question is missing chunks of key information. So in this kind of case, I would say consult with an immigration attorney, email my office to schedule a consultation, and we'll figure out what's going on. But the information you provide here has huge gaps in it, so I can't really answer that. User 955 asks, how about medical? How about the medical? Let me know more specifically what your question is about the medical. I assume it's with regards to a green card application, but I need more information to be able to answer that question. There's missing parts to it. All right, Samro, thanks for following. User 95 says, I have a conditional marriage-based green card. Medi-Cal considered public charge? Yes and no. I mean, if you applied for Medi-Cal before you got your green card, yes, that could be a problem. You should have been probably listed. It depends. I got to see what exactly you got as a benefit. But overall, before February 24th, it wasn't that big a deal. It was California medical insurance. The thing about it now is other kind of issues. Yes, it could be a big deal. So you should consult an immigration attorney, but you need to consult with a couple of immigration attorneys because what I've seen is a lot of immigration lawyers don't understand the nuance of this issue. For example, when you have a marriage-based green card, you're having a spouse apply for your green card and submit an I-864 affidavit, affidavit of support, I-864 affidavit of support that says they're going to sponsor you. But when you ask for public benefits like Medi-Cal, they ask you how much income you're making. Not only are you supposed to include your own personal income, but the personal income of your spouse. So if your spouse was working but you did not include their income, that's a fraud and misrepresentation situation. This was never enforced up until recently that they stopped enforcing it at the citizenship stage. So there might be huge fraud issues that could cause the green card to be lost in that kind of case, as well as your spouse being on the hook to pay the government back for those benefits if they pursue him. And President Trump has said, we're going to start pursuing people on this kind of stuff to get the money back. So there's all sorts of other issues. Public charges even on the issues. There's a whole mess of other problems that are problematic. And this is the kind of thing where you hopefully had an immigration attorney kind of talk to him before he done that. Not to get too involved with this kind of stuff. But fortunately, if you got it, you got it. But definitely consult an immigration attorney, get some good advice on how to deal with this particular issue. Okay, so we had another question. Galaxy asks, B1, B2 extension. I don't know what your question is. B1, B2 extension is just a statement. So let me know if you have a question, put it in question format and be specific on what the question is. B1, B2 extension, it's just you have a tourist visa and you're requesting extension. I don't know what else to go from there. Abdul Talifas says, I'm a refugee and I'm late to apply for the green card. There's no late to apply for it. It depends on if you're a dependent or not. But yeah, if you're a refugee, once you enter the United States, you become an asylee, and you have, after 1 year, you could start filing the green card process. So that's not a big deal. A problem comes if you're a dependent, like you're a child of a refugee asylee, and you go over 21 or you get married. Then all of a sudden, you're outside that status, and you can't adjust status and get a green card. You have to do a thing called nunc pro tunc, so it gets complicated. But if these issues exist, just consult an immigration attorney to get some advice in private. But hopefully that just gives you a general understanding of what's going on and what kind of issues pop up. Okay, Harid asks, my I-140 petition, this is an employment-based EB kind of category. It's already submitted 1 month ago. How difficult to change the premium processing? Well, it's not difficult at all. You just have to submit extra fee and the paperwork, but it depends. Not every I-140 petition allows for premium processing. For example, the National Interest Waiver, NIW, EB2C, does not have premium processing. The EB1C, Multinational Manager, does not have premium processing. So I don't know if you're doing one of those categories, but if it's the other ones, you submit for I-907 with copies of a receipt, a filing fee, $1,440, and you get premium processing. Now, there is strategy involved in requesting premium processing, so that's where you got to talk with your immigration lawyer to see is it a good strategy for you to even use premium processing or not. Sometimes you want to keep the I-140 pending for longer for various reasons. Sometimes you don't. So it varies based on your case. I would just say consult an immigration attorney before making these kind of big decisions that are related to your case. Okay, so we have a few minutes left. We had a good barrage of questions, kept things going. I appreciate that. I love talking and going into it. You're saying you have an EB3. Yes, you could do a premium processing on an EB3, $1,440. Typically, when you do an employment-based case, the employer has to pay a lot of the attorney fees and filing fees and that kind of stuff. But the I-140 premium processing fee, I believe, can be paid by the employer. I got to double check on that, but that's the difference. So maybe you could file for it on your own. I'm pretty sure they allow the beneficiary, the applicant, to do that. But definitely consult an immigration because you need to see the strategy of it. Is it even worth filing? Because it might not make a difference. We'll get premium processing for what, So we got to see what's going on with that. I definitely say consult with an immigration attorney to see what's going on in your category based on what your nationality you are, the work you do, all this kind of stuff, to see what the best decision is. Patrick asks, is there another way for my parents to get residency in the U.S. through naturally born children? No, I mean, either the children file for them and hopefully they get it. It depends on their parents' immigration background. If they're being deported, maybe there's cancellation removal, maybe not. That's a more nuanced kind of issue. It's not really good to talk about here. But that's about it. And they won't get, so consult the lawyer. Maybe they have some different options available. Galaxy asks, sir, can B1, B2 apply for a student? So I think you're asking, you're on a tourist visa and you plan to apply for a student status. Do change the status to F1 student visa. It is possible. It's nuanced. It's tricky. You need to consult an immigration attorney for help on this. What you need to do is do a change of status, and your school has to begin when this change is approved, but you have to remain in status until then. If your B1, B2 is going to expire, you have to also file a bridge, B1, B2, I-539. And what I'm saying is getting complicated, I know, and that's why you should definitely consult a lawyer to do a bridge filing and a change of status filing at the same time, and hopefully approve it together at the same time. A little bit nuanced, a little bit tricky, and your school program has to be appropriate. Getting a semester program is hard. You have to do more of a monthly program. So what I'm saying right now is a lot of information. All it means is consult an immigration and get help on that, because you can mess up really big on these change of status student visa cases. I don't really handle these cases. If you like, email me and I can try to connect you with a colleague. But I don't like doing student visa cases, but I'll let you know there. Fadi asks, how apply a visa for my mother? Well, if you're a citizen, you can apply for your mom's green card. If she wants to visit on a tourist visa, she applies on her own for a tourist visa. Ulich, thank you for sharing the feed. Harid asks, can H-1B worker be allowed to invest in shares and stocks? Historically, it's been fine to have ownership in companies. Sometimes I see USCIS overzealous officers say, oh, you're being employed and working. So you don't want to go into buying and selling and trading, but as a person that's H-1B, you could buy a home, and buying a stock is just things. You're buying property. Now, if you're buying and selling homes, that looks like work. If you're buying and selling stock and getting income like that, active income, that may not be appropriate. The lines aren't like solid on these, so it's like up to interpretation. But generally, if you're investing and just putting money in and it's sitting there, is generally not a problem. I don't tell my clients not to do that, but it depends on what you're actually doing. If you're buying and selling stocks and stuff like that, as a day trader, that may look like work, and some officers may not like that. Unfortunately, it depends on which officer's reviewing it, so you want to be careful with this kind of stuff and properly document what you've done so they don't come back later and accuse you of things you did not do, or you don't want to do things you shouldn't have done. That's why it's good to have an immigration lawyer behind you to help you out and guide you through these processes. I know it's expensive, but if you want to avoid these kind of things, having someone who stays on top of the laws and is there is really good. This will be one to last. After this question, we'll have one more. Malika asks, hi sir, can I apply for my niece? No, you can't do anything for your niece. You could maybe file for their parents. If you're a U.S. citizen, you can file for your brothers and sisters. and depending on the ages of your nieces or nephew, maybe they'll get into their green card application. It takes 10 or 20 years, who knows. But if they want to come visit the U.S., they apply for their own visa and do their own stuff. The only thing would be if you file for their parents and eventually their age is young enough for them to come under their green card application. All right, wow, I think I talked straight for 30 minutes. That was a time flew right there. But thank you all for joining. It was fun being on Instagram. This is probably be on Friday, Instagram day. Monday, I'll be back on doing it on Facebook. But I'm going to switch it up on YouTube and Twitter, all this kind of stuff to make it fun. We'll take one more question from Fatima. She says, how much time does green card processing take? Well, I talked about that in detail earlier. Check the video for this. It's probably be out on Monday. But with that, we're going to call it a day. Thank you, everyone, on TikTok. I'll be back again Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific on TikTok. You'll catch the videos of this on YouTube. And on Instagram, we'll be back next Friday. But on Monday, I'll be on Facebook. So switch it over. JQK Law Firm is the username for everything except for TikTok, where it's Immigration Lawyer John. Thank you all for joining. See you all on Monday. God bless. Be safe. And have a great weekend. Bye-bye.